Hi, Miriam.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good to see you.
Well, thank you. How are you all?
We are fine, thank you.
Aman and NUMS team, could we clarify the order of the speakers just so that
All right. Yeah.
we're
Okay. First, it's you will be speaking first.
Acha.
Yeah. So then we have Somaya, and then we have Raghib, and then Naman, and then we have last one is Mahin.
Okay. Does it make sense that I go first because I'm speaking more from a user perspective than but okay.
Well, we have arranged it like that, so I hope.
Let's stick to it then.
Yeah. So because users are more, and yeah, so there is a reason to keep you first, actually.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. There are more reasons, actually, not just because you. So we
Okay.
want to pitch it better so that we will want to start with you.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Raghib.
Assalamu alaikum, Raghib Saab.
Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I believe this event is public and then lots of people will be joining in, or it's only limited to 5 or 7 of us.
Sorry, we are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Raghib Saab, you will be third in this list of speakers. So, yeah, just wanted to let you know.
Thank you.
And yes, it's a public event you were asking about, so we're hoping for large
Yes.
attendance.
Yes.
Yes, sorry. Thank you. Yes, it's a public event. Anyone can join.
Okay.
It's open for all.
Aman, just also clarifies this as a webinar format, so we don't see the speakers, or will everybody be like on
Sorry,
camera?
it is not a webinar, it's actually a Zoom,
Okay.
but it's open for all, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The format is not webinar. We have this because there are many engagements we have, so we are just having.
Sure. All right. Thank you.
Miriam, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, just checking.
All right, thank you so much. I think it is time to begin. I hope all the speakers are present. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished speakers, esteemed faculty, dear students and participants, Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of the National University of Medical Sciences and the Zero Waste Alliance Pakistan, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this important webinar being held in commemoration of the 3rd International Day of Zero Waste. As many of you know, the United Nations declared March 30th as the International Day of Zero Waste to raise global awareness about the need for responsible production, consumption, and disposal practices for sustainable waste management. The aim is to support the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and to promote sustainability and achieve circularity that benefits both people and the planet. I'm also pleased to introduce to the audience about the Zero Waste Alliance Pakistan, which is a pioneering initiative launched on June 11, 2024 by the consortium of leading universities representing each region of Pakistan. ZWAP is dedicated to advancing zero waste principles across academia, industry, government, and communities. This year's theme for the International Day of Zero Waste was proposed by the United Nations as towards zero waste in the fashion and textile sector. That holds particular significance for Pakistan. The textile sector stands at the heart of Pakistan's economy, yet it is also bears a substantial environmental footprint. As individuals and institutions alike, we are all stakeholders in the textile and fashion value chain through what we produce, consume, and discard. This webinar invites us to critically reflect on the sustainability of these practices, particularly within the context of Pakistan, and to explore pathways toward a more responsible and circular textile ecosystem. To guide the discussion, we are honored to have with us a panel of eminent experts and thought leaders in sustainability representing a diverse sector. Today's webinar will focus on 4 key perspectives, which include perspective from academia, producers, suppliers, consumers, and fashion and textile design. These perspectives will discuss challenges and opportunities in transitioning Pakistan's textile industry toward a zero waste and sustainable future. So before we begin our speaker session, I would like to request all the participants to mute their mics and cameras. I also request our participants to drop questions in the chat box so that we can ask our speakers for their answer in the QA session. So our first speaker is Ms. Mariam Kugale. Ms. Mariam is currently the Director of Environment and Sustainability at the Aga Khan University. She provides strategic direction to all the sustainability efforts and net zero goals. She also contributes to the AKU's climate reduction goals as lecturer for both medical and social science students. Ms. Kugale has 16 years of experience in climate in international development, and she holds a master's degree in environmental policy from the University of Oxford. Her talk will be from the consumer side, and she will explore textile in the healthcare sector, challenges and opportunities within this critical industry. I would now invite Ms. Mariam. Please, the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Aman, for the kind introduction. Welcome to all participants. It's fantastic to be here and discussing this important topic. As Aman mentioned, I will be presenting from a bit of a specific, you could say, perspective. Maybe you will kind of wonder why we're talking about healthcare and textiles. It seems a bit unusual, but I'll just explain also the significance of this, and looking forward to your questions as we go. So healthcare is actually a major contributor to global climate change, or the greenhouse gas emissions that cause it. It's not really well known either, right? We think that healthcare is about saving the people, but while we do so, we actually really contribute to the problem. It's about 5% of global emissions. And of course, healthcare also generates a lot of waste as part of that. Some studies have found that up to 30% of the waste that we generate are from disposable medical textiles. And when we think of textiles, we think cotton, right? So that's the stuff we like to wear. But in healthcare, textiles, and actually even in what we wear, often are not cotton at all. Most of the time, actually, they're a mixture of natural and synthetic materials, such as polypropylene or other non-biodegradable materials that kind of are woven or look like textiles. That gives them a longer life. In healthcare, that's really important, and we'll discuss that a bit more as we go. There's really two options for textiles, also in the healthcare sector, at the end of their life. One is to incinerate, and legally, healthcare is required to incinerate all the waste, including textile waste that has come in contact with any bodily fluids or otherwise infectious material. And the other option for kind of still relatively clean textiles is to landfill it. Especially here in Pakistan, there's no other options. Either way, it really contributes to a lot of pollution in the air, in the soil, in the water. And so there's a real challenge. Just to address the problem again for a moment, I wanted to look a few years back, and we have some graphs here. So if we just look at surgical masks, other masks and textile masks used in healthcare, what you're seeing until 2019 is a relatively steady amount of usage. This is from studies that have looked at this globally. And of course, 2020, the pandemic hit, and you see a really huge jump, not in the quantity only, but also in the type of materials or textiles used in these masks. Just in terms of other types of textiles, in terms of personal protective equipment or PPE, hairnets, etc. In this graph, we're actually seeing a decrease until the pandemic. So something positive from a sustainability and environment angle. And then, of course, 2021, when the pandemic was still in full flow, this actually started to pick up again to pre-managed levels. So this was a really big problem. And we'll talk a bit more about then what happened afterwards. So what are some of the principles that we use in healthcare specifically, but this would really relate to other kind of uses as well. So the first is an ethical responsibility. And in healthcare, all medical professionals take the so-called Hippocratic Oath, which is first, do not harm. And while the environment is not specifically mentioned, it's kind of generally understood now that we do have to think long-term about the impacts well beyond the walls of our healthcare system. There's also a huge influence that we can have via procurement because we buy so much stuff for healthcare, as well as then the policy influence. And so because our supply chains are so vast, our spending really matters. It sets a sign, right? It's the principle of voting with your dollar, right? So where you leave your money actually really influences what you prioritize. And increasingly, there is a role for healthcare institutions to be part of public procurement and dialogues to further sustainability elements into much larger kind of procurement processes. And of course, there's behavioral leadership, because most of us go through healthcare in the course of our life in various stages several times, many times. What happens in these institutions really signals to the consumer, to the participant, to the patient, what is good and what is maybe not so good for the environment as well. And of course, internal practices such as departmental audits or collaborative approaches can again signal through the collaborations internally and our conversations externally the direction in which we want to go. So what are some of the strategies that healthcare sector has applied to reduce textile usage and, of course, end of life, which means waste? The most simple is really segregation, right? We're not a recycling company or something ourselves. Healthcare will never be that. But if we are better at separating contaminated for incineration and non-contaminated textiles, then the non-contaminated ones could actually get into the resource chain of cyclical reuse and recycling as well, right? And for this, staff training, color-coded bins, a lot of retraining, because we're humans, we like to forget. All of that can be really important. But even more important is actually switching to reusables. Remember the graph I showed you about single-use personal protective equipment and masks in particular in the pandemic? So what actually happened, and that's the second bullet here, is that it was relatively easy, or at least quick switches were made in 2020 and 2021. But it turns out that it's very difficult for us to switch back to the processes used before, and that's cotton gowns that can be washed and sterilized many times. So it's really interesting, the switch back has been much more difficult because of this fear of infection and other reasons than the quick switch made to the single-use plastic-based personal protective equipment. There's also technology and innovations that play a role, for example, with RFID tracking to support the how many cycles a piece of gown, for example, or linen is going through. But, you know, all of these fabrics can be washed at least 100 times, 150 times. And if they're tracked and coded, that really supports the good management of the same, right? And we, you know, numbers sometimes help. Data doesn't always make the biggest difference, but really looking at life cycle emissions and life cycle inventories has really helped many healthcare sectors around the world to cut waste, to cut emissions significantly. And it's really fun then to celebrate these kind of things with the team, because then they're more able to come up with the next set of ideas. So it's quite a long-term cyclical process. And the following graph, taken from a just recently published paper from the Netherlands, but it really showcases the multiplicity of stakeholders and the multiplicity of decision-making points that are involved when we switch between single-use and multi-use, in this case textiles, but it really goes for other such processes as well, right? So I won't hold on this, but I'm sure the slides will be shared off or something if you'd like to refer to it. And of course, there's a huge role for awareness and engagement. I really don't think it stops at awareness, right? That doesn't always translate to action, but it can be a good starting point. So for the healthcare workers themselves, what we've realized at AKU is that very often the people on the front lines doing the work, they actually hold a lot of ideas. but they've never really been asked. And so sometimes when we, for example, share data back with them or start an open conversation without necessarily a goal in mind, then they can actually bubble up these ideas by themselves. And so these kind of green rounds where we're just exploring opportunities have been really great to involve the stakeholders and get some of the ideas and then translate them into actions and solutions. Even for patients and visitors, right? We have thousands of people coming through, for example, our AKU hospitals and many more thousands in other hospitals every day. So we can use those as opportunities to communicate our decisions or even to ask for opt-ins. You might know in in hotels, sometimes you have these little cards that say, hang your towel to use it again or throw it on the floor if you want a new one. Well, actually in hospitals, we can do a similar thing, although there's different kind of considerations to make. And at a leadership level as well, right? We want to showcase good practice in order to involve more people and move it forward and align with international standards. Now, often these are a bit slower than our practice itself, right? So we tend to actually innovate in practice and then move it up to policy and standards afterwards. So that dialogue becomes incredibly important. So just to finish up something here, this little talk here from my side, what's really important in the textile space, at least from our perspective, is to integrate the life cycle thinking already at the design phase. So again, what kind of textile we buy, it depends on what is available in the market. So our conversation with the producer in terms of the kind of textile we want in order to reuse it as many times as possible is really important. We can only buy what's available, right? Also, all sustainability action requires horizontal collaboration. It can never be a single team. It cannot be a team of nurses making a decision on their own, right? There's infection control, there's financial aspects, there's the sustainability reporting, of course, procurement, and many, many more, as you saw in the graph earlier. As I mentioned in terms of the pandemic, right? Downward change on our waste management hierarchy is really easy, right? But actually moving up to the better process is really, really difficult, right? We always have a lot of hesitation to do so, right? And at the same time, challenges are rarely technological, right? I did speak a bit about innovation, but most of the time, good collaboration, good conversations, open-ended thought pathways, they're actually what moves the needle forward here. So with this, I'd like to conclude and looking forward to the other speakers and your questions and our discussion later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, really. It was inspiring. And I would like to add toward what you concluded, like most of the challenges are really technological because technologies are available. But the problems to transition to any like zero-waste society, we require, it's more of a social, political, economic, and lack of education, which actually contributes toward the challenges. So thank you very much, Miriam, for really inspiring talk. Thank you so much. We next have with us next speaker, Ms. Somaya Bardai. She is the Chief Executive Officer at the Rana Liaquat Craftsman Colony, Karachi. It's an organization works for the empowerment of women. Ms. Somaya's journey in design intervention began in 1999 in Quetta, where she documented the fading embroideries of Balochistan. Since then, she worked in many organizations, including Save the Children, IKEA Foundation, and also is serving as assistant curator at the historical Mohata Palace Museum, Karachi. She holds a master's degree in design from Delhi and photography from the School of Visual Arts, New York. Her talk in today's webinar will be on the embracing sustainable fashion and textile challenges and opportunities in the context of Pakistan. Over to you, Ms. Somaya.
Thank you so much, Aman. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here today. I'm just gonna share. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to share my screen.
If you're unable, we can do it here.
Sharing is paused. Why is my screen sharing paused? Hold on. Just 1 sec. I'm going to try once more, and then maybe if I can't, I can get you to do it. Hold up 1 second.
Okay, we can try it here.
Just a second. Yeah, maybe you could share it, Aman.
All right, just give us a second.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so we have your PDF. I hope it will work.
Okay. Yeah, okay, great. All right, so as you know that I'm leading a women-led NGO, which has been serving since 1954. It was set up by Begum Rana Liaquat Ali Khan. Now, RLCC works at the intersection of craft, community, and sustainability, and we're supporting over 350 home-based craftswomen, many of whom are preserving centuries-old textile techniques. You can go to the next slide. So as we know that the fashion industry is the second largest industrial polluter after oil, every year globally, millions of tons of textile waste is generated. Most of this obviously ends up in landfills or in incinerators, as Miriam had also mentioned earlier. So I'll be delving briefly into how brands can adopt sustainable fashion practices. So just briefly, I'm going to go over what the industry impacts are, how brands can contribute towards sustainability and consumer awareness, what the challenges and opportunities are in Pakistan, and how we can promote more collaborations for things to actually, become effective in this space. Can you please move to the next slide? Okay, so in Pakistan, the textile sector makes up 8.5% of the GDP and 60% of total exports. The waste produced from this sector has both environmental and economic costs. It's especially critical for urban and rural communities who live closest to the waste and furthest from the profits. So the major environmental impacts is excessive water pollution, resource depletion due to fast fashion practices. Then there's ethical concerns like terrible labor conditions, low wages, and poor working environments. Due to the rapid trends, we're constantly evolving consumer demands and market dynamics, which causes overproduction and overconsumption. And packaging really is one of the biggest issues. Honestly, I think tote bags have become the new plastic bags. Can we yeah, because also packaging, it's mostly single use and we really throw it away like within minutes of receiving whatever shopping that we've done. Can we please move to the next slide? Sustainable fashion promotes clothing and textiles produced with environmental and social responsibility throughout the supply chain, and it aims to minimize the environmental impact while maximizing social benefits. So in short, what the fashion industry and the textile industry needs to focus on to make the industry sustainable is very simple. They need to focus on using eco-friendly materials, they need to focus on ethical production, and they need to focus on creating a circular economy. Next slide. So a little more in detail, based on the slide that I presented before, brands, they hold really immense power to shift the narrative from fast fashion to responsible production. And their responsibilities include designing for sustainability, use eco-friendly materials, innovate towards recycled fabrics and plant-based fibers, create durable, timeless, and repairable garments, adopt zero waste cutting and circular design methods. The second is ethical production. They need to build transparent, fair trade supply chains, support living wages, safe conditions, and artisanal skills, highlight human stories behind each product, like the movement of who made my clothes, influence consumer behavior. They need to shift the focus from fast fashion to mindful consumption, offer rental, resale, and repair options, encourage buy less and choose better lifestyle, raise awareness through educating through campaigns and content on social media. Brands need to also share impact statistics and garment care tips so that you can have your garments last longer. We also need to normalize reusing, upcycling, and secondhand fashion and thrift stores. Now, another great way of spreading awareness really is through documentaries. A recent one that came out is Buy Now on Netflix, which sheds light on this massive problem of the fashion and textile waste industry. And there was another documentary that came out in 2010 by the name of Addicted to Plastic, which was talking about the plastic that is collecting in the Pacific Ocean. And that's really what got my journey started on looking at sustainability. So in the Pakistan context, we really need to somehow maybe translate these documentaries or create more content around these issues in the local languages so that the masses can understand what actually is going on. And the fifth one really is to collaborate for change. So brands need to partner with NGOs, researchers, and policymakers and support sustainable craft ecosystems like RLCC and co-create policies and pilot innovative methods. Can you move to the next slide, please? So the future of sustainable fashion, now there are growing trends that we see. There are innovative materials that are being developed. There's mushroom leather, there's pineapple leather. Then circular economy models are also being created. Consumers also now are becoming more aware, especially the younger generation, in terms of sustainable consumption and what they're buying and what they're spending. And policy and industry also is coming up with, laws and regulations, especially in the fashion industry space. And if we continue to do more of this, what that's going to do is it's going to have better environmental impacts and better social impacts. So there will be a reduction in waste. Sustainable fashion will be promoting more circular practices. There will be lower carbon emissions, water conservation, eco-conscious manufacturing, less pollution, and the use of natural dyes. And in terms of the social impact, we will then be moving towards fair wages and ethical labor, empowering women and artisans to be independent, cultural preservation through craft preservation, and more consumer awareness and behavioral changes. Now, this is happening globally. Can we move to the next slide, please? However, even globally, now the challenges globally are that to become sustainable, the cost is very high and scalability is very difficult. There are still lack of policies. Consumer awareness gaps are still present. More and more consumers need to become aware, and there are skill gaps where artisans need more access and training to the market. In the Pakistan context, there are further challenges like lack of literacy, lack of awareness, and consumer demand. Our nation still really revolves around novelty. It's difficult to make people understand to reuse clothing and to recycle. So more content needs to be made on that. And also in Pakistan, we have a resource-intensive production. We have very weak waste management infrastructure. There is limited access to green technology. There's a fragmented supply chain, and there are several policy gaps. We're still working on creating those policies. However, globally, the opportunities, there are circular fashion, there's craft revival. A lot of companies are now moving towards preserving crafts, local to global storytelling. So many brands now are bringing in their culture and bringing it on a global level, and buyers are really wanting to see the transparency in those stories. So the stories are shifting from very airbrushed photography to very real stories. And digital empowerment is also an opportunity that we need to look at through online platforms and expanding the sales through that. Now, in Pakistan, the opportunities that we have is that we still haven't reached the global market on that level. There are a few brands that are doing it. We have an abundance of traditional skills. There's an opportunity in growth in sustainable consumer segments. We have so many NGOs that are working on this, so there's a lot of opportunity in connecting with these NGOs and donors. And then now we also have opportunities in moving towards innovative textiles and building circular economy models. Can we move to the next slide? So a study in 2003 reported that 34% of surveyed textile workers in Pakistan earned less than 25,000 rupees per month, which was at that time the minimum labor wage. Additionally, 91% of home-based workers, which is the women that we work with, reported earnings below this as well. Can we move to the next slide? So I've just listed here a few brands that are locally working towards sustainability. There's Rizwan Beg, Huma Adnan, Shubinak, Sapphire did a collaboration with WWF. Then there's several British Council grants that are working towards sustainable fashion. And Generation has also done some campaigns. Khadi, of course, has been known for preserving handwoven textiles. Liana also works on sustainable clothing, and Rasta, which has now become this global name, is also working towards sustainable clothing and preserving cultural crafts. Now, on the left side of this slide, you can see some of the products that RLCC produces. So we are an eco-conscious brand, and we've just started a website by the name of Punchy Crafts for the artisans that we're supporting. And through our production and through design, we also teach the artisans how to create materials and products from sustainable materials like date palm leaves. The gift bags that we make are upcycled newspaper bags, which we block print, and they're available in all sizes. We receive hundreds and hundreds of kilos of textile waste from several factories and designers. Koel Gallery sends their textile waste to us. Deepak Parvani sends his waste to us, and several other bigger factories. And so we create products from upcycling textile waste, from upcycling paper waste and plastic waste. Can we move to the next slide? So in short, RLCC, just a little intro to who we are. We have a staff strength of 110 staff members, out of which 90% are women. And the organization, as I mentioned before, was set up in 1954 by Begum Rana Liaquat. Can we move to the next slide? So the organization is based in Shah Faisal Colony, which is a very impoverished community in Karachi. And it's an NGO and which is looking at the needs of the community holistically. So at the center of it is the livelihood department, which supports the artisans. Then we have a school with 750 children from Montessori till metric, where the artisans' children study. Sorry, so can we move to the next slide? Because the details of what I'm saying right now are on that. So yeah, so as I mentioned, it's a holistic system. And so the livelihood department, the children of these artisans, they study in our school. We have a clinic also, which provides free mental health, eye checkups, pediatrics, and gynecology. We also have vocational training classes for the girls that couldn't attend school in beautician, computer graphics, English, and fashion and textiles. And we have an outreach team that supports over 10,000 women per year and brings awareness to them in women's health, women's rights, and child safety. Can we move to the next slide, please? So as I told you before, that packaging is a major issue. So the materials that we utilize are upcycled newspaper, tin, and jute. And these are some of the packaging options. If anybody would like to collaborate, or that brands should also reach out to us. And corporate gifting, again, is a major problem. Aside from the regular packaging in the fashion and textile industry. So at RLCC, through our programs, we run this upcycling of textile waste. And so yeah, in the past 3 years, we have saved over 3,000 kilos of textile waste from ending up in landfills. Can we move to the next slide, please? So I'd just like to conclude and just kind of end my talk with a few points that brands really must design with the end of life of the product in mind. Consumers must value quality over quantity. Policymakers must incentivize sustainable practices, and collaborations really is the key. NGOs, academia, and industry must work together. So we do also take internships of all the major university students during the summer. We have students that come from communication design, from fashion design, from textile design, and we bring them all together and work on projects that where they can design products that are made out of textile waste. So these collaborations we need more of these collaborations. So in short, we're really not looking for saviors, we're looking for partners who believe that sustainability isn't a luxury, it is a necessity, that waste isn't just a burden, it is a raw material for innovation. So let's connect our academia knowledge, community wisdom, and industrial power to build a textile future that's clean, just, and circular. Thank you so much for your time. And if you're interested, here's the details where you can find us. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It was really inspiring to hear the story as a powerful example of a woman leadership and the transformative impact you created in the lives of many other people around you is great. And particularly,
thank you. We really encourage everyone to come and visit RLCC as well. If you're Karachi-based, it's really worth seeing.
We look forward to have collaboration, particularly with our students who are working on they have good ideas, and I hope you will mentor them. So thank you very much again.
Thank you.
We now have the next speaker with us is Mr. Raghib Khan. Mr. Raghib is a sustainability and quality specialist at IKEA Supply AG Pakistan. Mr. Raghib has 20 years of experience in textile manufacturing and retail resourcing. He oversees regional projects focused on renewable electricity and assist partners in developing sustainable roadmaps to achieve long-term goals. Mr. Raghib Saab will be talking to us from the supply side. His talk is focused on sustainable business in textile supply chain. So over to you, Raghib Saab.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me today. Just to reconfirm, like you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay,
thank
good,
you.
Good. So once again, thank you for everyone and for the last two presenters also for sharing quite good insight about that. Today, I will be sharing about how IKEA as a global brand is working on towards zero waste. And today I will not be only talking about the waste from the material, but also from some of the resources that we are focusing upon. So moving to the next slide. So I will start with our vision, which is to create a better everyday life for the many people. And today we talk about more of the many people because of the growing population and then reaching to the more and more markets throughout the globe. As a Swedish brand, during the year 24, we celebrated a quite good achievement by winning with the gold medal in the Olympics. But at the same time, we are experiencing another challenge with us, which is rising temperature throughout the world. And this we can experience when we have a hottest summers and the warmer winters. Lots of floods, lot of rain problem across us, and that is actually disturbing us. But we are optimistic. Why? Because we have some plans, we have some thoughts, we have some actions that is helping us to improve the situation that we are experiencing today. Whatever we have planned, we call it as a sustainability strategy. And this is not only one thing that we are talking about, a product or a process, but it's cover everything, starting from the raw material till the final product. And we have classified this thing into three main sectors: healthy and sustainable living, climate, nature, and circularity, which is actually related to the waste and all these things, and fair and equal, which cover everything, either that is our workers working on the factory floor or our customers that are using our products. And you also can interrelate also yourself also these three topics are not individual. These are all interconnected and have a positive or a negative impact on each other. If something is positive happening on one sector, it is actually impacting the other side also. So how we can contribute towards improvement or the way forward. So the most important thing is like how we are evaluating our supply chain, starting from the raw material till the final product. And this everything, either that is a waste, that is a energy, that is resources we are using, it is impacting our emissions, ultimate emission to the environment, to the land, to the water, to the incineration and all these things. So when we talk about our supply chain, the biggest impact is actually coming from the raw material, which we are talking about how we can reduce our usage of material, how we can move to a recycle material, or how we can actually have a sustainable materials. And the second thing is production, how we are processing our material, how we are handling, what resources we are using and all these things. So if we look into these factors, these are the factors which IKEA can control, or we can control and contribute and improve themselves. And the other biggest contributor is end of the life of a product, which is at the hands of the customers, which we don't have any control over it. But at the moment, what we have the control over what we are using as the raw materials to make our product, and how we are processing those materials. So today I will be talking about how we are trying to improve these two factors, which can lead us to reduce not only the materials that we are using it, but how much of the material and resources we are using it. To improve our situations that we are experiencing today, we have drafted some goals and some directions how we can improve it. The first direction that we call it as a material direction. IKEA as an organization have a global commitment towards reducing our virgin material usage and moving towards the renewable materials by 2030. That all the materials that we are using today or will be using by 2030 will be either coming from renewable sources or recycled materials. So we will not be going to the virgin materials. We will not be using any fossil-based materials which are negatively impacting our environment. How we are doing all these things? So we have drafted 4 main focus areas. The first thing is whatever we are designing today, we are offering to our customer has to be coming from a circular capability. That means our product should be able to recycle, can be reused. And the other thing is like whatever we are using, as I explained you also, we wanted to use recycled material or renewable materials. And the third thing is like how we can create a product that is so functional, so durable that people can reuse them. They can offer to, or they can share their product after their own use to someone else. That we can say a second buy or a second love of a product. And then definitely whatsoever the product we are making, either the product can be upscaled to be a better use or downscale to be an alternate product of. So we have made from designing to the end of the product, we have created some focus area where we are working with. So these, if we talk about the materials or the product that we offer to our customer, we need to evaluate what material we are using. On the right side, you will see there are synthetic materials, either foam, latex, or polyester and polypropylenes. And on the left side, you will see like natural materials. So the natural materials are from the nature. It's a blessing to us, how we can reduce, how we can optimize the usage of those things. Cotton is a limited material. Animal-based materials, wool and other material, duck, falls, all are actually a limited resources that we need to be optimized to use what we are using. On the right side is the chemical or fossil-based materials that are negatively impacting our environment. Those are the material which cannot be decomposed to in the normal environment, or it take a longer time to decompose and all these things. The first step that we are taking it is to reduce the usage of those materials. And the second thing is we are taking an initiative to replace our virgin fossil-based material to the recycled materials. Today, I can confirm you that whatever we are using as a polyester in our materials, that are coming from the recycled material. All the polyester material that we are using are recycled. And the foam and polypropylene materials we are in a trial stage to actually work on how we can recycle them. After the first use, how we can make an alternate product out of them, mixing with the virgin material, so that the burden on the virgin material usage can be reduced and all these things. So whatever we are doing, we are using as a pre-consumer as well as the post-consumer material. Pre-consumer materials are the materials which are coming from the industry and quite easy to track and use them because of the compliance requirement and all these things. And the second thing is the post-consumer materials, which are actually quite complex. As earlier we were talking about segregation, collection, traceability, and all these. These are the complex requirement, complex processes, how we can handle all, and how we can comply with the global requirement, all these things. So we are struggling with something, but we are moving towards usage of those materials also. So when we talk about whatever the material that we are using it, so here is one of the brief chart which shows our journey starting from full year 17 to the fiscal year 30, how we are targeting to reduce our dependency on the fossil-based virgin materials and to contribute to a positively on a CO2 emission into the environment by a quarter of the percent point. 27% of the reduction in our CO2 emission just because of the materials that we are using as of today. The other direction that is actually we call it as a manufacturing direction, which contribute about 70 to 80% of CO2 emission for our finished products. So earlier I was talking about the materials that we are using it, and how here I will be talking about what are the resources that we are using, because those are actually a form of a waste also. So one of the thing is energy, which is actually a source of everything that we do or process out today, and that is coming from the natural resources. Either it is coming from the hydropower or fossil-based energy sources. And the second thing is water, that we are using it. And day by day, we are moving towards water scarcity, towards in all of the basins that we are talking about today. So if you talk about today, what are the challenge? Our average temperature is increasing by 1.5, and on that, United Nations and the different Paris agreements and all these, they have drafted some commitment to control that rise in the temperature and tomorrow we are looking, if we are not able to control it to or limit it to a 1.5 degree increase in the temperature, it might go beyond 2, and it will be a very difficult for us. There would be a big changes in the environment, big changes in the weather behavior and all these things. And if we are not able to control even that too, so we will move towards our time when this earth or is this globe will not be a livable place for us. So we need to take steps today to improve our future for our, not for us, but also for our generations. So whatever we are doing, we are trying to actually reduce our CO2 emission, which is also one of the affecting critical factor in our environment as a waste. And this is one of the parameter or one of the measurement that we have done so far or contributed so far in our initiative that we are doing also. What is meant to our suppliers? When we talk about like IKEA as a brand in Pakistan, we don't manufacture ourselves. We work with our partner, we work with our suppliers. So how we can actually promote, how we can actually work with our suppliers to help us to reduce our waste or to our negative impact to the environment. We are working to eliminate coal from our manufacturing setup, because coal is one of the pollutant raw material that we are using as a source of energy and electricity in our. The second thing is the natural gas. Natural gas, you already know, like it is one of the resource that we are extracting from underground and then using it as a source for us. But it is limited. It is getting shorter and shorter every day. So we need to save this material, important material or important raw material for our future generation. How we can do it? We can promote alternate solution for that. For that, we are working with our suppliers to reduce to reduce dependency on the coal and the natural gas resources, and to go for the renewable sources. Either that is coming from solar electricity, or they are coming from the wind energy and all these things. The second thing is what I was sharing about the data collection, monitoring, and working on that. This is very important. How we can monitor our efficiency. Either we are effectively using our resources, or we are just wasting it. That is very important. And the third thing is how we can adopt to a new technology, how we modify and update our machinery, so that we first we lower our energy requirements, resources requirement, and the second thing is we reduce our wastage in our production processing also. So these are the initiatives that we are working with our suppliers. As of today, what I can share with you, we have saved 1.8 billion liters of water. When we are talking about, this is a water that we are able to recycle and reuse in our supply chain. That is helping us. So these are some of the real life picture from our suppliers, where we are talking about upgradation, we are talking about recycling setup, and we are talking about removing natural gas and going towards biomass plants, or the zero liquid discharge to the ocean and to the environment. With all these things, I can share good business is not about like being a good number or a good volume or a good customer base, but it's all about the good practices and the good processes that we are working with. With all these things, be a force of positive change. That is actually one of the quotes from our founder, Ingvar Kamprad, who was a vision to actually improve the overall experience of the world, with the product, with the services, with the positive impact to the environment. There are many more different initiatives which we report every year in the name of IKEA Climate Report. And for this year, we have already published our initiative, our movement, our goal, and our direction in that. And here I am providing you a link, and encourage you to actually visit the link, read through different initiatives that we have, that might be interesting for you, not only from learning point, but also you can adopt some of the initiative from your side also. And if you have more info, you want to know more information, you can also connect with me, and I would be happy to actually explain you more how we are working with those initiatives, all these things. With this thing, I will actually thank you everyone to actually have a discussion around that, and then have a time to listen and to experience what and how we are working on this part also. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I think it was very enriching talk, and we came to know about the amazing work IKEA is doing in Pakistan. In many areas of sustainability in textile. And we are also hopeful, like you, that adopting sustainable practices, we can have a better future. So our next speaker is Mr. Noman, Mohammed Noman. He is Manager Compliance and Sustainability at AJI Denim. Mr. Noman has bachelor's in environmental science from the University of Karachi and over 9 years experience in compliance and sustainability education. His talk will be from the production side and from the manufacturing side, and he will focus on exploring sustainable manufacturing trends, AJI Denim's journey, and the business potential of circular economy and zero waste. Mr. Noman, we are short of time, and I hope you will keep your presentation very brief. And thank you very much. It's over to you now.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. It's good to be here and another platform to provide the AGI Denim sustainability and what are the circular economies we can do on the platforms. So I will be representing AGI Denim, and Here my agendas are the industrial trends and challenges and how AJ Denim are achieving the sustainability goals, which the customers are basically demanding for it. And and let me show you the trends and industrial landscape. Basically, as my other speakers says that there is a trend of GDP on the Pakistan platform. Basically, is 8.5%, and we are working with we are the global leaders. Why zero waste and sustainability matter in fashion
Naman
textiles?
sir, sorry to interrupt you. Can you make it? Can you screen share it? Slide share it, please. Yeah, make
Which
a slide.
one? Is it visible? Hello.
Yeah, it's visible. Carry on, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So here from here I want to start trend and challenges. Industrial landscape, textile industrial landscape in Pakistan. Textile is the backbone of the economy. As you know, it is contributing 60% of the textile export and around employees of 15 million of the peoples, and it's account for the 8.5 GDP of the natural, and this put us in a powerful position. Moving to the next slide. Why zero waste and sustainability matter in fashion and textile? As the fashion textile industry is the second largest polluter of the global, which contributes around 10% of the global emissions and 20% of the wastewater and 30% of the microfiber plastics. Like we are using polyester things in the fabric, and 87% of the material is made to the lost to the landfill sites. Basically, here I'm sharing my trends and challenges. What basically on the company sites we are doing on it, like circular design, sustainable material usage of sustainable material, cleaner manufacturing, and waste reduction and traceability and transparency. Basically, the main function is the traceability and the transparency, where from we are getting the raw material and we are ending with the raw material of the fabric side at the consumer at the brand end. So challenges what we are facing in this the basically the availability of the recycled materials and the materials which we are claim as a sustainable material. These are the main is cost and scalability materials and supply chain complexity. The availability of the resources are not easy to get from the supplier ends. Basically, we are not receiving, we have to import the recycled materials or post materials or pre materials. As Mr. Raghav said, they are utilizing the more recycled and pre materials in the fabrics, and we are doing in the same way. So, technology barriers, recycling technology is still maturing, and infrastructure remains. In many regions, like there is no availability of the recycling things and the other things. I will share my AGI Dynam journey, what we have achieved in my tenure, what we have done. Basically, let me introduce first what is AGI Dynam. AGI Dynam is basically is a vertically integrated mill. We are doing business of the spinners, fabrics, and garments. Denim garments basically. We are backdated history of the 1993. We are started our working in the 1993 with the vision of to make the global trends. We are the first first vertically lead certified and B Corp certified company. Basically, these are the leadership and energy and environment, and B Corp is the basically for the ESG side, like an environment, social, and governance side. Asia Dynam Sustainability Pledges. We are basically the signatory of Science-Based Target SBTI's Fashion for Climate, UN goals for the sustainable materials and sustainable things, water mandate. What we are doing, zero waste to landfill. Basically, we are using the more recycled material in our fabric, as we are utilizing more recycled PET bottles as per the requirements of the brands. They are requiring for the recycled materials and sustainable materials to utilize in the fabric, and we are using it the same way. And AGI is soon going to be established a recycling plant in their own to use the own waste of the garment side and the post waste side from the used materials like garments and other materials to recycle it and shred it and to convert into the yarn again to make it possible to run in the production sites. Moving to the next slide. We have installed an waste heat recovery boiler on the genset exhaust, which basically reduce the impact of the usage of natural gas and which directly reduce the GHG emissions as per the requirements of the brands and details. And as per the requirement of SBTIs, we are basically the signatories of the SBTIs. We have basically installed solar panels over the which shares around 20% of energy in the overall our group level, which basically saves the approx saving the 90,000 metric ton of CO2 emission avoided in 2024, basically by recovering by using the renewable energy from the solar panels. Biomass boiler, we have installed a 20 TPH boiler to generate the steam for the utilization in the process by using the biofuels. Basically, we are using a risk husk on this to reduce the impact of the natural gas and CO2 emissions in the environment, which help to reduce natural gas generating electricity emission approximately 13,000 metric ton in air. And we are going to install one more 20 TPH biomass boiler to the other facility to reduce the more impact on this. Moving to the next. Water recycling, basically it's more important to reduce the groundwater usage, and it's a requirement from our brands, and they are basically saying to move to the ZLD. And whenever we recycle the material, we are recycling the water, it will impact on the reduction of the groundwater reductions. And we are basically recycling around 85% of our wastewater to the recycling material, recycled water, which reducing the agriculture rainfall to into the sea, or this is this. Sludge and hazardous waste, basically what we are doing from the waste, which we are hazardous waste and our waste from the sludge on ETP, we are doing with the third party contract on the SEPA approved vendors. Like the fire waste we are utilizing, they have the incinerator, and they are incinerating our sludge and hazardous waste to reduce the impact of the waste material to the environment. We are using basically paper tubes on the fabric rolls to reuse from the our end. Basically, initially we are using paper tubes to roll the fabric on the side, and they are going to be the waste. And we have basically integrated the new system to use the plastic tube, and we can reuse it in the fabric roll setting. And we are basically reverting the chemical dumps to the supplier to refill, and they will send us back and to reduce the impact of the plastic. And it will give some good impact on this, and we are basically reducing around 20% of recycling of the plastic. We have introduced a paperless working paperless working for our site, and to use the production records, and this production records for data collection, ball warping, tying, and to use the basically we are using the on system. We are using the traceability for this. We are basically utilizing the papers and register for this, but now we have digitalized our system to use the more impact and use the less paper on the basically from the mill side to have reduce the paper usage in the mill. Training and development side, we are continuously train our employees to handle how to handle the waste and things, use of the PPEs and handling procedures to improve proper handling of the wastage side. And this What we have done recently, we have done with the collaboration Green Story. Basically, there is a platform Green Story in which we have to input our data of the fabric or garment or spinner side and our other supply chain, which we create a digital product passport, which basically evaluating the our environment impact on whatever we have supply chain used in the product. It will automatically give the one page link, and it will provide that this pair of jeans basically made with this supply chain, and basically and it impact on the environment is this, like it utilize energy of this volume, and in usage of water is this, and whatever the land is, they are utilizing it. Let me show you one thing. We have digital passport with us here. If you can see, there is an impact. We have basically whatever the garment we have made, it's a pick imperial blue. This is basically specific number for this AW27103, and the basically material is composition of recycled material and BCI cotton, which is more sustainable and claimable material. Like better cotton is grown in sustainability and use less water and few chemical while supporting fair conditions for the farmers. And this recycled material is from the pre-consumer or the mostly the post-consumer for the used clothes or anything else. We are utilizing pre-polyester as well, and post-polyester, and pre-cotton and post-cotton for our productions. And this fabric is this pair of jeans is made with the pre and basically BCI cotton, made with the BCI cotton. And whatever the impact is this, they are showing in this form, like whatever energy is utilized to make this pair of jeans from starting raw material fiber to end product and garment side. It is basically utilizing the 115.43 megajoule, and water consumed is 0.717 meter cube. And if you want to convert in the gallons, you can convert into gallons or liter side. Is my screen is visible?
Yes,
Hello?
your screen is visible. Are you closing your talk, sir?
Yes, I'm going to
Time is
close
over.
soon.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to close soon. It's 7.73 of emission is emitted to make this pair of jeans. Let me go to the slides again. Basically, these are the projects we have achieved in our industrial side to use of the sustainable material and utilizing the less emissions to environment by utilizing the renewable energies, biomass boilers, and internal fabric processing to use the low impact chemicals and other things. The business investment and opportunity and circular economy and the zero waste is the last slide from me. Basically, as other speakers said, I don't know the name of the second one, Somia, I think. Somia basically said about the opportunities to recycle material. We have to introduce more recycling plants in the industry of Pakistan, so we can get the more recyclable material on the time, and it will be very helpful to produce the more to use the more recycled materials. And this bio-based biodegradable textile startup are attracting global and attention funding. Reduce the upcoming upcycling of the product is more workable to us to streamline our supply chain, and it will be good initiative. And green certifications like we are doing on certifications we have done in the LEED certification, BCOP certification, GRS, RCS, GORS, OCS certifications. These are the basically traceability and green certification which we have used, which we are basically AJ has done from the past, and we are continuously doing on this projects. Business perspectives, yeah, growing consumer demands, conscious consumer increasingly supports sustainable brands and creating more marketing segments. Cost optimization is good for us for long-term investment, but the ROI basically is the main challenge for this, and it will be good for the prospectus. The ROI will be the late, but it will be the good for this. Government incentive, like if government are supporting on these projects, it will be good for us. And if they are reducing the taxes on this and taxes and basically they are give us the more accessible things to use the technologies, green technologies, then it will be good for us. Or collaboration will be the partnership between the Legacy brand and green tech, so it will be helpful for us to give the business perspectives. So it is almost done from my side. So AGI Dynam, we believe in the zero waste is not a destination, it's a journey. We are committed to continue our leadership in sustainability and things. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Naman Sahab. Thank you so much for educating us and telling us a lot of things about the top brand of Pakistan, AJ Denim is doing. And I hope you will also be on the top when it is sustainability of the textile from production to consumption and then disposal. So thank you.
Yes.
Our next speaker is Miss Maheen. She's the last speaker. And Miss Maheen is a textile and interior designer from Gilgit-Baltistan. She is currently a faculty member at the Government Sadiq College for Women University, Bahawalpur. She is inspired by the South Asia's rich textile heritage, and she integrates traditional craftsmanship with modern sustainability strategies to promote responsible and innovative design solutions. She represents academia, and she will talk to us about towards zero waste reimagining textile education as a force for sustainability. Over to you, Ms. Maheen.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
I am Maheen Yusuf. I am a textile educator, researcher, and a women empowerment lead. I'm currently working in Bahawalpur. I'm really excited to be here today, and I heard some really nice insights from all the people. I'm really excited to share how we can reimagine textile education as a powerful tool to promote sustainability and move towards zero waste. And not just as a concept.
Thank you. Are you going, sorry to interrupt you. Are you going to share your PowerPoint, or we are going to share it for you?
No, I am going to share my PowerPoint. Yes, I'm going to share my PowerPoint after the introduction, and I'm going to turn off the video.
All right.
So through this presentation, I want to bring attention to the power of education, especially in areas outside of the big cities, because normally when we talk about sustainability, and because I did my bachelor's and master's from National College of Arts, Lahore, and lived majorly my life in the big cities. So when I moved here and started teaching as a textile educator, I realized that there are a lot of actionable steps that need to be taken in order to revive the crafts particularly, and then how these particular crafts that are so prevalent in this particular area can actually help in reviving the sustainability that was once our thing. Now I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so starting off, what we are going to be exploring today is three key areas where I believe textile education.
Hi, Maheen. Sorry, can you go to slideshow, please? And so we can see it better.
So we'll be exploring three areas today, but firstly, we are going to be talking about education as a catalyst. We will be looking at how universities can go beyond technical skills to instill sustainable thinking and responsibility in students. Because I believe that education, when reimagined, becomes the most powerful tool for long-term change. Secondly, we'll be talking about bridging gaps. This is a very important point, that there is often a disconnect between academia and the textile industry. We'll talk about how this gap can be turned into a space of opportunity for collaboration, research, and for real-time innovation. And just as I was listening to all the other speakers, I realized that this is a big gap that needs to be filled. Thirdly, we'll be talking about the agents of change, and it's also a very important point because I want to focus on our student body, how we empower them not just to follow trends, but to actually question them, to become thinkers and doers in the sustainability movement. These three themes will anchor our discussion today, and I'll be sharing practical examples from my teaching and student work along the way. Okay. So the first slide, on the left, you can see that there's a landfill filled with textile waste. And this is the power of design, basically, that how a linear fashion system where design ignores end-of-life responsibility ends up in a landfill. And on the right, we can see this is a textile panel made by one of my students at GSCWU. It's a textile panel created entirely from scrap fabric. This represents the shift we're trying to make from wasteful production to thoughtful, purpose-driven design. It is proof that creativity doesn't need virgin materials, actually. In fact, some of the most innovative work is born from limitation and constraint. And more importantly, it reflects how young designers can be guided to think differently and design differently and see waste not as garbage, but as material with new potential. And when I was listening to Ms. Sumaya, I actually found, I learned about how they have been implementing all of these things practically, and I felt really happy. So coming to the problems that we currently face in the textile industry, overproduction, the second one being environmental impact of synthetic materials used in textiles, and the third, inefficient supply chain practices contributing to resource wastage. Okay, so as a textile educationist, there are also some a little points of concern that I wanted to add into my presentation today. So firstly, we know that the textile waste that we're talking about, it doesn't just come from normal consumption. It also comes from the academic settings, and there are no particular structured strategies for reuse or recycling and disposal in the student projects, which is also one of the points that we should be looking at. Secondly, there's a limited access to sustainable materials. This is also a very important point because when we have limited access to sustainable materials, people tend to rely on synthetic fibers, and also because of low cost and availability and easy access. So that's how we end up with a ton of waste, which is unrecyclable, and the end of life process is very limited then. And thirdly, one of the most crucial points in textile education is the outdated curriculum and the industry gaps. Because sustainability is still considered, particularly in this part of our region, in Pakistan, the sustainability is still not being practiced as much as it should be, and similarly, it is not incorporated into the curriculum of the design institutes. The design institutes or the universities are actually the places from where the future designers are coming up, and they're actually painting the whole scene of the future of our textile. And we need to focus on the curriculum particularly and understand that there's a lot of industry gaps that we need to fix. Also, there's an important point about tackling of the polyester dependency and microplastic pollution in textile education, how we can educate. So I've seen that, and right now when we were talking about how we have seen microplastic pollution in textiles all over in everything. So I've seen that the awareness of microplastic pollution is also something very, very limited. And we need to tell students and educate them about how sustainable fibers alternatives. We have to understand about introducing students to sustainable fiber alternatives like organic cotton, hemp, bamboo, tencel, recycled polyester. I'll further be showing examples of how some of my students have actually been working on such things and how they've actually come up with some ideas to actually tackle this problem. Secondly, we have to raise awareness on fiber shedding and how like, you know, if any one of us is wearing a polyester fabric and washing it in the washing machine, the microfibers are going to end up in the water, and then when the water is drained out, it's going to end up in the in our food eventually. So there are things like guppy friend bags, which can actually limit the pollution of microplastics in the water and ultimately in the bloodstream actually. And then the third part is about the rise of fast fashion. Because of fast fashion, we have seen that there's an overproduction and waste culture. And if we look to our roots as the bearers of the legacy of the Indus Valley civilization, we know that we were the torch bearers of sustainability, and people who actually believed in reusing and then doing things in a particular way. So I think we need to re-educate ourselves in terms of fast fashion and go back to our roots. Okay, next comes how the educational framework of sustainability can be built in an academic setting. So this table lays out 4 pillars of framework for embedding sustainability across textile education. Each row represents a core area: curriculum, industry collaboration, student engagement, and research innovation, and shows how we move from goals to real impact. So when we talk about curriculum development, we know that our goal is to particularly integrate sustainability principles, as I talked earlier. Strategies, we can develop hands-on projects. Outcomes could be increase student awareness, and the impact is to transform the education systems. If we talk about industry collaboration, our goal is particularly to partner with sustainable brands. Strategies could be create internship opportunities, as I was very interested in Madam Sumayya's presentation, and she said that she actually their institute actually offers internship opportunity. I'm going to definitely recommend some students to you, Madam. Encourage community projects. We want these are the community projects that we're looking for, and the impact hopefully would be drive industry standards. Then we have to, if we talk about the education student engagement, so our goal is to foster critical thinking, promote teamwork, enhance practical skills, and establish a sustainable mindset. And if we talk about research innovation, we're going to talk about the goals are reduce waste in fashion. The strategies would be support circular economy. Outcomes would be increase in resource efficiency, and the impact would be of influence the policy changes, hopefully. So my context. So these are some of my pictures, which are from our institute, the Government Sadiq Women University. And the first slide that you see, it's our studio, very unfiltered, scraps and sketches and questions all laid out together in what looks like a creative chaos. Please excuse me. So secondly, the second picture is basically learning beyond lectures. Our students are not just sitting within this classes and learning; they're doing beyond it. And in the third picture, actually, this is a student project who actually made bags out of recycled fabric using jute and cotton as their material. And also the picture is a little not clear enough, but we have used the craft of Mukesh on jute, which was sort of an innovation, and I could see that it was really it was an interesting concept. The second, this slide particularly shows, if you take a look at this particular image, it is also a student work who has incorporated lotus root fibers and connected, they've woven it with raw cotton threads and then made a fabric out of them. They were the student experimented with various materials and ended up with this fabric, which was actually tensile and actually very interesting to work with. This is also one of my students' work who actually used date leaves and then incorporated the scrap fabrics from the tailoring shops that we know that the tailoring, because we are a community who wears likes to wear lawn and everything, so there's a lot of scrap material in the tailoring shops. So she picked up all the scrap materials from the tailoring shops, woven them together and date leaves, and then made these rugs out of these. And the third one, this is also a student's project who was actually trying to come up with innovation in the craft of frilling, which is also a practice, textile practice, which has been in this particular region for a very, very long time. Some innovative teaching methods in textile education could be project-based sustainability workshops. We would very much want, sustainability workshops from people, from people like all of the people that are currently available here, who are actually listening to me talk. So it would be very helpful for the students. If the workshops would be online. If they are in person, that's the best thing, but they could be online, and so that we could enhance or encourage a collaborative learning through these workshops. And then digital tools like AI is something which is something very useful if we take it into this particular way, because it gives you very interesting solutions. I'll just try to wind up quickly. These are also some of the pictures from my students' work. Again, this is a picture from because it was a project made with scrap fabric. It is materials have been collected from the scraps obtained from tailoring shops and then converted into textile panel. This is a natural dye originated that she has made using beetroot stems and leaves, and this is the outcome of the dyed fabric using natural dyes. So natural dyes is also one of the things that need to be reintroduced, because it is one of the things that we have had as a if we look at our history. And this is also a very important project by a student who actually used the threads, the waste fabric, because we live in Bhavalpur, and Bhavalpur is known for its chunri and all the waste fabrics. The waste threads actually from chunri, they only end up in the landfills. So what she did was that she actually made these coats, these embroideries out of the scraps of chunri threads, and made this whole panel and all the samples behind these. So it was a very interesting take on how waste can be tackled. Again, these are some pictures from our workstations. You can see with my students, and they're very hardworking, honestly. And this is one of the picture of my students on a field trip to one of our this is Sadiq Masjid here in Bhavalpur, and the reason I took them here was to actually for them to look at how sustainably, because not just in textiles, even in architecture, if we talk about sustainability, we are not doing the things that we're supposed to do. So I took them here so that they could understand how small details like the use of material can actually help them create something which is sustainable and actually works with the environment. This is a picture of our students and the foreign delegates from Cambridge and Islamic University Bhavalpur with their they were given handcrafted art pieces by our students. The hand pieces that you can see in their hands, and because they were celebrating the creativity under the SDGs of number 12. So final more thoughts moving forward is that design is power, and when used mindfully, I believe it has the potential to heal rather than harm. And as educators, we hold the responsibility of shaping that power by fostering critical thinking, ethical practice, and material awareness. We're not just training designers, we are cultivating change makers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maheen. I'm sorry you, Dr. Maan had to leave because we exceeded our time limits. We couldn't manage it on time. So I'm here, on his behalf and on behalf of our rest of our team. I would just like to thank you, all the speakers, for such enlightening talks. It was so inspiring to listen to all the great things that you're all doing, and great lessons for all of us. I hope we can, do something together and start making change. So I would just like to thank the speakers again, and special thanks to Miriam for, connecting us to all the speakers as well. And, for everybody, Miriam is our valuable team member of ZWAP team as well. And thank you everybody for joining, doing working hours. It's not easy. And a special gratitude to all the members of ZWAP Alliance, and special note of thanks to the team which organized this webinar, and especially our students and our public affairs and digital technology. And with this, I think we've had a couple of questions, but our speakers have responded to those questions. If you still want, we can maybe accommodate any questions or comments. Otherwise, I'm not sure if we have that kind of time. So anything from speakers' side, any comments, any, I think we've seen all the questions in the comment box. Yes, otherwise I'll just close the session. So, so with that, we bring this session to close. We hope the discussion that we held today will, inspire all of us to take meaningful actions in our respective capacities, inshallah. And I think we're already late. I hope, we'll continue to collaborate on these as well. So thank you so much from our side, and, we hope to see you again. And for any questions, comments, queries, we have this email, and if you have any questions from speakers, you can share these with us. We'll convey those to our speakers as well. So thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Raghib, Numan, Sumaya. Thank you so much. It was lovely having all of you, and Maheen.
Maheen, we need to connect.
Yeah. we all need to connect.
We all need to connect.
Yeah, and stay connected, and do something.
I will be reaching out to you, Madam Sumaya, because
Amazing.
I took a screenshot of your presentation.
I took some of yours. We really need to talk further. Yeah.
Lovely.
That would be great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam, for actually connecting all of us, because it is a great initiative, and it is something that we all need to work on as a collective. It has to be.
I think we all share this passion, and I hope
I hope more than a passion, it's really a responsibility.
Yes, exactly. It's a responsibility.
I would really like to invite anybody who would like to visit RLCC, Faisal, anytime you can reach out to us on our Instagram, and do come and visit us. It's really worth seeing. It's 71-year-old.
Yeah. And it's so good to see, it's so good to see, mashallah, so many people, whatever everybody's doing in, our own spheres. So inshallah, let's hope for the better, and let's hope for the best, actually.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
See you soon,
Allah Hafiz.
inshallah. See you also. Allah Hafiz. I'll just close the meeting now.